One day, a man was shot by an arrow while walking through a village. The wound was deep, and the pain was intense. He was quickly rushed to a physician, but instead of seeking treatment, the man insisted on knowing the identity of the person who shot him, the type of arrow used, and what kind of wood it was made from. He demanded to know where the arrow came from and how it was aimed at him. The physician, sensing the urgency of the situation, told him, "This is not the time to worry about such things. You are injured. We need to treat the wound before it gets worse." But the man was insistent. He refused to let anyone touch his wound until all his questions about the arrow were answered. The story of this man and his reaction was brought to the attention of the Buddha by one of his disciples, who said, "Master, this man's attitude is strange. He is in pain, yet he is more concerned with the specifics of the arrow than with his own healing. What should be done?" The Buddha responded with a deep lesson on suffering, attachment, and how human beings often become fixated on the wrong things. He said, "If a person is shot by a poisoned arrow, and instead of immediately seeking medical attention, he insists on finding out who shot the arrow, where it came from, and what kind of arrow it was, would this not be foolish?" The disciple replied, "Yes, it would be foolish. The most important thing is to heal the wound." The Buddha continued, "In the same way, people often become obsessed with questions about life and suffering. Questions like, why do we suffer? Who caused it? How did it come about? These questions are like the man asking about the arrow, when his focus should be on the immediate healing. It's natural to be curious about the origins of suffering, but what truly matters is how we heal it. The key to ending suffering lies not in understanding its origins, but in addressing it directly and finding a way to relieve it. Moral of the story. This story teaches us a valuable lesson about the nature of suffering and how we often focus on unnecessary details instead of taking immediate action to address our pain. The Buddha's message emphasizes that while understanding the cause of suffering can be important, the true path to peace lies in healing the suffering itself, rather than being consumed by endless questions about why we are in pain. We should focus on methods of relief, such as mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. In times of hardship, it's not always the external details that matter most, but how we respond to and heal from the suffering we experience. This teaching also encourages us to cultivate a sense of urgency in healing, not to get lost in endless distractions, but to take the steps necessary to find peace and alleviate suffering, both in ourselves and others.